Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. If you've been following our progress, you'll know that Carrie has a few confidence issues with the saddle. So to combat this, we decided to try out some raised poles now. Normal pole work was going great, but it wasn't making the saddle move enough on her back. And when riding, she also wasn't that confident when we'd go into rising trot. So what I did was put 4 poles out, but only 2 of them are raised. Because it's the first time she's seen them, it's the first time she's done it. As you can see, that's why we went in walk first. But she tackled them great. The first time I just asked her to trot, I just wanted her to stop afterwards so that I could praise her. But then the next time we try and keep it more like a loop. So the stirrups are down. You can see she takes a little look to start with, but then she's quite happy. She knows it's not a jump. And then we focus on going downhill, keeping the stride nice. You can see she's not properly tracking up, which is another reason actually raised poles are a bit better for her, is to help her stretch out her muscles and build up the muscle, because she had an old injury on her back right leg. So it's a good way of getting her fit, but also bringing up her confidence. And again, it's good for us to just take little breaks in between. It was quite a hot day. So we kind of do 2 laps at a time, then have a bit of a walking break. You can see the line's completely loose. So she's quite confident, quite happy. I've got the whip with me just as an incentive, but you can see I'm not really needing to use it. And she knows where she's going. She's doing quite a good circle. You can see the stirrups are moving about, but she's not fazed by it. And actually, it really did help with her confidence. The first lap that she always does, I praise her verbally, but then when I'm happy enough to say we're finished, then I'll give her a proper pat. So this was actually the proper first time we did it, which is when I was just walking with her. She's a little bit nervous when it comes to jumps, and I just wanted her to realise and know that she only has to actually walk over it. She doesn't have to jump it. And again, that makes a difference for her, because then she doesn't have to panic when she gets over to it. So again, the first time I then ask her to walk by herself, but just so that she gets a feel for it. As I said, this was the actual first time we did it, and she knocked it over. But then we go straight into trot, raise forward. She's quite happy. She has a bit of an odd trot, but she went for it, and that's what we're trying to get out of her, that when she's not sure, that she still goes for what I'm asking for rather than putting her own opinion in. See, so she's a bit more nervous that time. But that's alright. It's still important to praise her when she's still going for it, even if it's not in trot. But you can see she's getting more and more confident. And that was when I asked her to continue trotting, which she wasn't sure about. For a long time, I would always let her stop the moment she went over the poles or over a jump, and that became a bit of a bad habit. So definitely keep an eye out for that. You see, she's not sure, she's a little bit clumsy as she trips. But it's a good way for her to really pay attention, not worry too much about the saddle, get used to it moving. There you go, see, she immediately picked herself up then, because with normal poles she's still getting used to just dragging her feet a bit, which is why she trips. Well, it's why I think she trips a lot. This is a good way for her to pay attention, get her strides right, and she's quite happy. So the other reason that I wanted to raise poles was to then work on the canter, which is the bit we did next. Now, she did kind of canter before with a saddle, but then we had a long break, mostly because of the weather. So this was the first time doing it in a while. And I thought that if we do the raised poles first, she'll get used to the saddle moving, and then she'll be more confident when it comes to changing gear and going into canter. So I always let her do a lap of trot, and then ask for a canter on the downwards corner, because that's normally where she finds it a bit easier. You can see she's struggling with it. See, she tries, and she's not confident with the saddle moving. So the moment she tries to change gear, I think it's more panic about it moving. So you've got a couple of strides, but then the sound changes, the way the saddle moves changes. But the entire time I was praising her and not telling her off, because again, you can see the rope's quite loose and she is trying. And it depends, it depends what your horse is like, but I know that she's not being naughty in this instance. And I can see that she is really trying, but she's not sure how to do it, what order her legs go in. So she needs that reassurance from me to know that I'm happy just that she's trying and that we keep going for it. So that's... You can see that she wants to buck as well, which is how I ended up falling off, I think like over 10 years ago. Because she wasn't good at breaking into canter. So after it didn't go so well on the one rein, try to switch it up a bit, because there's no point pushing her too much the one way. But it was pretty much the same. She just didn't have the confidence to change her stride, really. And again, just a point is that I do put the stirrups up when she's going into canter to start with, so there's not too much flapping about. And you can see she's trying, but the moment that first stride goes, she's just not happy, and she starts either hopping or trying to buck, but then she knows she's not supposed to buck, so she tries to suppress it. So I only do 2 or 3 goes on it before I let her just walk. The good thing was, as well, as she was blown out of her nostrils, so she was kind of relaxed. This wasn't stressful for her. It was just difficult. Like that, she's just not sure how to do it. So again, we just take a moment, let her recompose. And there are some days that you won't end on a great note, meaning in this session she didn't really canter properly. But that's okay, it's just knowing when's a good time to leave it. So for me, when I saw that she kept stopping and kind of freaking out, what I wanted to leave it on was that she at least carries on in trot, which is where we ended up. So okay, I didn't get what I wanted initially, but she still tried, and that's all I can ask for at this point. And then we just wait for another time. You can just see she just wasn't getting it that day. But anyway, thanks for watching, and come back next week.